Queen Camilla, has just shaken the very foundation of the British monarchy with an announcement so unexpected, so raw, and so laden with implication that it has left the entire United Kingdom in a state of absolute disbelief. For decades, the world operated under a silent collective understanding of royal decorum, the never complain, never explain mantra that acted as a suit of armor for the House of Windsor. But as the year 2024 began to wind down, that armor didn't just crack. It was systematically dismantled by the woman who now sits beside the king. At 75 years old, most people in Britain cannot remember a time when anyone but the late Queen Elizabeth II was the fixed point of the national soul. Yet as the king's battle with an undisclosed form of cancer continues without a clear end in sight, Camilla has broken the seal of silence. In a move that many are calling a stunning reversal of protocol, she addressed the public not with the practiced hollow reassurances of a palace press office, but with a chilling honesty that reveals everything may not be as flawless as the royal portraits suggest. What exactly did the Queen Consort say that has the corridors of Buckingham Palace in a chokehold? And how does this revelation redefine the very survival of the throne? Stay tuned, because the truth behind Camilla's announcement is about to peel back the curtain on a monarchy in crisis, revealing a power shift that no one saw coming. To truly grasp the magnitude of this moment, one must look at the atmosphere currently permeating the royal residence. For months, those paying close attention noticed a peculiar and growing absence. King Charles III, the man who waited 70 years to fulfill his destiny, has been making significantly fewer public appearances. The news of his deteriorating health has moved from the realm of tabloid speculation to an undeniable, heavy reality. But while the palace has historically kept such matters buried in the archives, until it was too late to react, Camilla has chosen a different, more dangerous path. During her recent highly publicized documentary, titled Her Majesty the Queen Behind Closed Doors, she offered the world a glimpse into her first year as queen. While the film was ostensibly designed to showcase her tireless work in tackling domestic abuse, breaking a cycle of violence she has vowed to end forever, it inadvertently served as the stage for a much bigger truth bomb. The documentary captured a moment from March 2024, during a visit to the government house in the Isle of Man, just weeks after the world learned of the king's cancer diagnosis. When questioned by officials about her husband's state, Camilla didn't just offer a polite nod. She admitted that while he was doing well in spirit, the reality of managing his health was deterring the king from doing so much. It was a public admission of a monarch's limitation, a statement that has sent shockwaves through the political and social fabric of the country. This wasn't just a wife talking about her husband. This was the second in command admitting that the CEO of the firm was being held back by his own body. It raises a series of questions that the British public is now demanding answers to. If the king is doing less, who is truly making the decisions? When a new policy is enacted or a royal decree is signed, can we be certain it carries the king's full unburdened approval? Or are we witnessing a regency by stealth, where the decisions are being made by a unanimous committee of the inner circle? Some citizens are deeply unsettled by the idea of the king being pushed behind the big stage, fearing that the long-promised reformation of the state is being stalled. Others, however, believe that Camilla's statement was a sophisticated front, a tactical move to sway the country away from an even darker truth that the king's health might be failing far more rapidly than reported. Was this an outburst of raw emotion from a woman watching the man she loves face the harshness of chemotherapy? Or was it a calculated step toward transparency in a modern age? Regardless of the motive, the implications are seismic, suggesting that the future of the throne is no longer a certainty, but a question mark. The weight of this announcement is compounded by the controversial journey Camilla took to reach the throne in the first place. In the eyes of a significant portion of the public, her ascension was never all white. The ghosts of the 90s, the scandals involving the late Princess Diana, and the decades of being branded the other woman, have created a narrative that her position as queen was not merited but seized. Yet ironically, it is this very woman, the one the traditionalists once rejected, who is now the only one standing between the monarchy and total paralysis. Over the years, Camilla has proven herself to be more than just a partner. She has become a professional pillar, representing the crown in charitable and ceremonial functions that the king can no longer attend. Her patronage of organizations like the Queen's Reading Room has set her apart as a compassionate, intelligent leader. But despite these contributions, she remains under the most intense scrutiny of any royal in history. Now, as she navigates the reformation of loyal policies alongside a husband she must also nurse, the pressure has reached a breaking point. But the sickness-carrying shadow at Buckingham Palace does not stop with the king. In a twist that feels like a cruel script from a Hollywood drama, it turns out that the Queen Consort herself is now facing her own medical complications. The public's concern turned to genuine alarm when Camilla was forced to cancel two major non-negotiable appearances in November, the annual Field of Remembrance at Westminster Abbey, and a high-profile reception for Team Great Britain's medalists. For a woman who prides herself on never missing a duty, her absence was a deafening roar of concern. The official report cited a chest infection and doctor's orders for a period of rest, but the skepticism of the British public is at an all-time high. Many believe the palace is holding back the full extent of the severity, fearing a state of national panic if both the king and the queen are bedridden simultaneously. When you add the fact that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has only recently emerged from her own harrowing battle with cancer, the image of the royal family changes from one of power to one of extreme fragility. How bad is it truly? To understand the current crisis, we must look at the history of royal health cover-ups. In the early 1950s, King George VI was dying of lung cancer. Yet the details were kept under a layer of absolute secrecy to preserve an image of post-war strength. The world was genuinely blindsided when he passed in 1952. That lack of transparency cost the monarchy the trust of a generation. Decades later, when Princess Margaret faced her own strokes and lung surgeries, the palace began to shift toward a more humanized approach, allowing the public to see the struggle. Camilla's recent announcement seems to be a return to that transparency, but in a much more volatile global climate. There are those who believe this measure is a response to the show of power currently being played out between world leaders, a way for the British crown to say, "We are vulnerable, but we are honest." Camilla has distinguished herself as a fierce advocate for cancer awareness, working with charities like Macmillan Cancer Support and Breast Cancer Now. She doesn't just show up for the photos. She shares personal anecdotes that make her relatable to the millions of common people affected by the disease. Her dominance in these lower skirts of the community is what has slowly elevated her in the eyes of her critics. Now, as she struggles with her own chest infection while standing in for Charles, the public is starting to see her not as a villain, but as a survivor. There is a growing sense of solidarity, a hope that she will make a full recovery as the new year dawns. But the shift she is stirring goes beyond sympathy. By placing health matters at the forefront of the royal agenda, she is effectively mandating a total reformation of health-related policies in the UK, using the monarch's approval to drive medical research and awareness campaigns that will favor every citizen. This legacy of transparency and advocacy is what will eventually define the reign of Charles and Camilla. While Charles remains committed to environmentalism, sustainable farming, and the prince's trust, his physical limitations have forced a modernization of the monarchy's structure. The new era of the British Kingdom is being forged in the fires of personal and public challenge. The citizens no longer look for an untouchable deity on a throne. They look for a family that reflects their own struggles. Camilla's choice to be open about the king's health may be the most influential act of her entire career. It has resonated beyond Britain's borders, prompting other monarchies to reconsider their own secret dealings with the public. In summary, the tides are changing with a terrifying speed, and Queen Camilla is the one steering the ship through the storm. As the year winds down, the question remains, is the situation as dire as it seems? Or is the palace finally learning how to be a modern family? The traditional followers of royal culture may never approve of Camilla's methods, but the larger, more inclusive population is beginning to admire her resilience. She has risen beyond the odds with a sheer dedication to duty that few could match. Whether her charitable actions are a front or a genuine lifestyle, she has successfully amplified the monarch's relevance in a society that was ready to write them off. The citizens now wait for the next update, for the next sign of strength from the man who waited his whole life for a crown, and the woman who fought a whole life to be his queen. Only time will tell how this chapter of the Windsor saga ends, but one thing is for certain: the final sentence has not yet been written. The future of the throne is being decided in the quiet rooms of Sandringham and the hospital wards of London, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the world is invited to watch. The atmosphere of unrest in Buckingham Palace is palpable, and it is a tension that stems from a sequence of bad news that seems to have no end. First the king, then the Princess of Wales, and now the Queen Consort herself. This trifecta of illness has put the monarchy in a position of unprecedented vulnerability. When Camilla apologized to those she inconvenienced by her absence, she wasn't just being polite. She was acknowledging the mandatory nature of her presence. As the second in command, she is the bridge that keeps the kingdom from falling into a state of chaotic uncertainty. Imagine a Britain where the top three figures of the state are all incapacitated. It is a recipe for a constitutional crisis that the king's advisors are working day and night to avoid. Yet in this darkness, there is a glimmer of a grand and glorious picture. The solidarity shown by the public in response to Charles's diagnosis is proof that the emotional connection between the people and the crown is still intact. Theories abound. Some believe the king is stepping back to prepare William for an early ascension, while others think this is the modernization Charles always promised: a leaner, more transparent monarchy that operates with the honesty of the 21st century. Camilla is at the center of this transition, stirring the pot with her choice of transparency. Her legacy, alongside Charles's, will be one of having faced the highest stakes of public life, while battling the most intimate of human fears. They have supported over 1 million young people through the Prince's Trust and championed ecological preservation. But their greatest achievement may simply be their ability to show up when the world expects them to hide. The citizens of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth are now standing at a crossroads of history. They look to the royal family not for power, but for answers. They hope that the situation isn't as dire as it appears for both the king and the queen. Already things are starting to look bright for Camilla in terms of public perception. She is fitting into the picture of a caring queen in a way that seemed impossible 20 years ago. Even if the traditional followers remain skeptical, the modern world is receptive. We certainly hope that the next few months bring a betterment of the throne and a restoration of health to the leaders of the nation. But as the Queen Consort herself knows, there is only so much you can control. You can plan for the modernization of a kingdom, but you cannot plan for the frailty of the human heart. In 20 years, when historians look back at the Camilla announcement, they will see it as the moment the British monarchy finally chose to be human. They will see a queen who used her voice to peel back the layers of a 1,000-year-old secret. and a king who allowed his vulnerability to be his greatest strength. The secrets and the horrors of the palace are being replaced by the truth and the reality of a family trying to survive. What do you think about Queen Camilla's choice to be so open? Is she overthinking the public's need for information, or is she the visionary leader? The monarchy needs to survive the next century. The debate is just beginning, and we want to hear your voice in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we continue to follow the most dramatic year in the history of the House of Windsor. The next video on your screen will take you even deeper into the secrets the palace tried to hide. You won't want to miss it. Goodbye for now, and keep looking for the truth behind the crown. The legacy of this moment will ripple through generations. It is a story of a couple who fought for their love, then fought for their crown, and are now fighting for their lives. It is a narrative of resilience that proves that no matter the scandals of the past, the accountability of the present is what truly matters. Queen Camilla has spoken, and the country is listening. The chokehold of the palace is starting to loosen, replaced by a new kind of freedom. The freedom of being seen for who you really are, even when who you are is someone who is sick, tired, and struggling to keep up appearances. The era of the unreachable royal is over. The era of the transparent monarch has begun. And it is all thanks to a 75-year-old woman who decided that the truth was more important than the tradition. As the sun sets over Windsor, the lights in the king's study remain on a sign that the work continues, even in the silence. The monarchy is changing. The country is watching, and the future is being written one announcement at a time. The world of Hollywood drama has nothing on the real-life struggles of the British royals, where every secret revealed is a stitch in the fabric of a nation's history. Stay tuned, because the most shocking part of the story is still to come. We will be here to bring you every detail, every rumor, and every confirmed truth from the heart of the monarchy. The final sentence is waiting, and we are just a heartbeat away from finding out what it says. Until then, be well, and remember that in the world of the royals, nothing is ever quite as it appears on the surface. The deep dive continues, and the revelations are just getting started. One thing is certain: Queen Camilla has made her mark, and the monarchy will never be the same again. Accountability has arrived, and it wears a crown.